Alright, so in this video we're going to make our top menu look a little bit better, and we're going to do that by creating a little bit of animations on here. So we have sort of this static noise sprite, but I have a second one here, and I'm going to create an animation which sort of shifts between these two, and you can sort of see in the bottom right corner that it looks like TV static if we switch between the two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this object, this noise one, and I'm going to create an animation. So if I go, mine was already open, but if I close the tab. So if you don't see your animation window, you can sort of, you can go to window up here and then scroll down into animation, or you can do Control-6. That's useful to know. And then you can sort of drag and drop this window wherever you want to use it. So I'm going to do it at the bottom because I like to see a timeline that's pretty long. If the game object does not have any animation, we can hit create and it'll create animation for us. And I'm just going to call this like static. And so we can also look at our animator. If you don't see your animator, that's control. Oh, there's no close tab. There is no shortcut default, but you can go find that and go control or to open that tab up, and you can drag and drop this wherever you want to work with it. And you can see it already created sort of this animator state for us. If we look in the project, we can see here they created the noise one animation controller as well as our animation. I'm going to drag and drop this and put this in a new folder under animation. So I'm going to go create folder. I'm going to say like TV noise under our animation folder, and I'm going to drag and drop that into that folder. Alright, so if we go back into the scene, we see that our only animation is going to be our default animation, and by default it'll, if we look at our project, static, it defaults to a looping animation. So if we don't have this selected, it'll do this once, but we actually want it to go back and forth because we want to keep swapping sprites. So now we can create an animation. We can hit record here, and what I want to do is I want to navigate to my scene sprites. I want to make sure the first one is, if we go here, let me select, oops, sprite renderer, sorry. If we select this, then we want to record that our first screen is noise 1, and then after like, I don't know, like a 1/10 of a second, I want to switch into our second one. So if I play this now, you can see it spends a long time on the first one and not very long on the second one. So with any sort of looping animation, we probably want to bring it back to our first state. So what we'll do is we'll select this and hit Control-C, so that'll copy that. And I want to bring this back to, say we're doing like 10 frames of the first one, and then now this is saying like, okay, we have 10 frames of the second one until we go back to our first one. So now it's like more of a smooth transition between the two, back and forth. And that looks pretty good already. We can even make it quicker if we want to drag these to make it a 1/10 of the second. That's a little too much. That looks alright. Alright, the next sort of bit of animation that we're going to do is I want to animate this text sort of wiggling a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I do the same thing. I'm going to create an animation for this. This new animation is going to be called wiggle text. And I'll do the same thing. I can record here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to oh shoot. Yeah, it should be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record, and I'm going to manipulate this left and right. I want it to wiggle in a horizontal direction. So I'm going to manipulate this left. I don't know if I do like 0 and 0. Sorry, actually this is going to be 100 because I want the size to stay the same. And then after like 0.2 of a second, I want it to go all the way the other way. And then I want to go back to the start, so it's wiggling back and forth. So I can control copy this and then bring this back to like 40 and just sort of see how that looks. Yeah, I don't like that so much. I want it to be quicker, so I can like sort of move these and shorten them to be like 0.2 of a second. And I also don't want it to wiggle that much. I want it to be sort of a subtle animation. So I'm just going to delete this because we're going to copy and paste it again. This one, instead of a right of 100, I'm going to make it a right of like 60. And this one, 10. Actually, it was 0. What do we start at? We started at 50, 50, right? So let's do like a 60, 40. And then here we'll do the opposite, 60, 40. Control copy this. Yeah, it's a little bit better. I want it to happen quicker, so I'm going to move these again. There's something else we can do. Maybe if that's too quick, I can undo this. Instead of having 60 frames per second, we can make it go a little bit slower or faster by like hitting 45. So 45 frames per second will make it a little bit slower. I'm going to actually redo my changes here so that it goes quicker, but we manipulate it to be just like a little bit shorter with 45 frames per second. Stop recording and we do 45. It's still, even that is a little bit jarring, so I'm going to change this to be a difference of 5 instead of a difference of 10. So 45, 55, 55, 45. Control copy this right here. There we go. Just subtle enough. Actually, I might want to keep it stagnant for a little bit and then like, so do a little wiggle and then stay the same and then do a little wiggle. So I'm gonna like drag and drop all of these and I'm going to keep it at our initial like 50, 50 and then like make sure if I only do that, then it's gonna slowly go to the left before going to the right. So I'm gonna go make sure right before 20 seconds. Right before that, I'm going to control and copy and make sure that it's, make sure that this is the same right here. So it stays the same for 0.2 of a second and then does a little wiggle. Let's see how that looks. We have to go back to our initial state. So I'm going to control and copy one more time. So it does like a wiggle left, back, and then I need one like a half one. So let's see how this looks. yeah, I want this to happen a little less often, so do 60 again. I'm just going to sort of drag this to like maybe does this every second, 1 second. Yeah, it's alright. Well, we can tweak it later. But now if I hit play, we have sort of this noise and like a more dynamic sort of title screen, so it doesn't look as boring or static. So that's nice. Okay, next video we're going to create a small script that'll move into our next scene if I touch the screen.